I asked for Body Armor energy drink or Body Armor sports drink, and I received this one, which I don't like. And I didn't say, please no tropical punch. I just asked for Body Armor and see whatever I get of all the possible Body Armors. And I also said I like berry flavors. Any of the Body Armors with berry in them. I don't have a restock container, and I also don't have a Stanley. Does anybody know what a Stanley is? It's what I've been seeing on the internet. Somebody's who's paying for internet charges that are shared is are using Stanley cups. Stanley cup, like hockey. And I don't have one of those. I guess I could ask for one from Mitch, but I don't really want to ask him for anything if I don't have to, because he just did something illegal in front of me, and I don't want to need anything more than what I need. I don't want to ask for anything more than what I really need. I don't really need a Stanley Cup that way. A good hockey player doesn't see things illegal action on the threatening right in front of you. All right. This is a new strawberry and banana. I said this before. The reason I don't like this flavor about as much as I don't like this flavor is because of the banana in here, but I do like the strawberry. So I have another one I'm willing to mix with this one and drink it as a mixed drink. Although God intended for them to be opened and you drink them as they come. That's what God intended. All right, this one's full. Now there's some in here and some in here, and this is the larger container, but it's the yellow one that has the labeling for the flavor I don't like more. I less like tropical punch than the strawberry banana, but I don't like the banana and the strawberry because it's not a smoothie. If it was a smoothie, I would like that, but it's like a juiced banana. No, that's strange. So here we go. I'm going to keep the container I like more, but this is the older container. Yeah, the newer one I would normally keep because it's cleaner. The older one, I drank out of it already. Okay, now there's a little left in here. And it's not mixed with anything, and I don't want to drink it that way. I also would prefer they be refrigerated. I might be mixing the caps. They're all three black. I didn't set them down and remember which bottle cap goes to which bottle. All right. Anybody seen the frother on TV or on the internet? Well, I would like a frother so I could mix up the Body Armor energy drink, but it's a frother. I can't get a frother unless I use it for a coffee product, and I don't have what it takes to get coffee products right now because those aren't really for my hunger, even though they have, if I add milk, then that would be, like, the milk would be for my hunger. But people who drink coffee products, they're not really normally doing that for hunger. They do it for that they pay money for the items. I don't pay money for things because that's what takes care of my hunger. I don't pay money, and then I have my hunger taken care of for the threatening. It's true that I need the food because I need to see if someone will bring me food as God. But I see that you mostly don't, but I was already alive. And you've been increasing the debt on myself that you don't bring me things as God, and you think that I should leave alive if I don't like it. And I am God, but I don't leave alive if I don't like it. I need to be deceased. And when you do things that are illegal, it extends my life because you are asking the questions with yourselves about yourselves. What is illegal? Like, why? Why would you do something illegal? Why would illegal be in your life? Why is illegal possible? Why is illegal alive that way? And it was alive that way for a very long time, all of the illegal. And but why? The question is why? Is I am God, deceased right here. You don't have to do illegal while I'm alive here. I already did appear that I have seen it all from heaven, and it's not due to be alive here anymore. You need to be deceasing yourself, and that's mostly a homeless condition, is what I would say. But I'm not supposed to be homeless because you're homeless. I'm going to end up in jail in the afterlife because you're homeless. It goes from here to deceased out of the door locking, and I'm going to be formed in having to do with deceasing myself out of prison because this Godhead will be in prison, and then when I'm done with deceasing, the karma of that illegal things were done optionally in my lifetime. When I'm done deceased out of that, this body's in jail permanently. The Godhead that I am, that is formed, I am myself, this is formed of myself, but in the order, it's in jail and prison permanently. And that's because I would never do that crime where I would appear in alive, and it would be to see that it's just low and people just do crime here. That's true. That's not excused. It's true that you overlapped the threatening that I was alive and you were homeless and you started to do crime on myself, and it lived for 45 years of doing crime on myself and on the order. And because you won't stop, you didn't stop for 45 years, but why? Because you were just homeless and you really had an identity crisis about what it's like to be homeless. And you did not have an identity crisis about what it's like to do crime on myself. You didn't do crime for myself because you believed in myself. You did crime on myself. I can't alive over that ever again. And I'm deceasing myself out of the order is what's taking so long. It doesn't just die because you owe me money. I mean, you didn't owe me 45 years of money. There's no real measure of how much money I needed during the time you were criming myself. But I don't need that you do crime for myself. You need to be homeless, and then you need to go to jails and prisons because you're homeless on your point of being homeless and everything that is homeless about you. In the meantime, I need a small amount of food, but you have shocked the stock up to its maximum capacity. God doesn't make bigger stock than it is now. So I just asked myself a humorous question when I was in the shower. I say shower. I said it a little bit off because I don't ask myself questions in the shower. But I said, why don't I just appear, materialize the amount of food I need for myself, what I need for myself, while the rest of the people shop in public and use their money, because nobody's offering me what I need for myself, like a frother and some whole milk and some instant coffee, Nescafe, yeah. And I need a candy product like a Reese's bar, A bar? Yeah, there's new Reese's out. I need to try them all. Reese's Take 7. Reese's Outrageous. Reese's Nut Rageous. I need to put a candy bar into the frother, frothed coffee with the milk, and then melt the candy in there. And then I need to pour that over ice into another cup. I don't have cups, as you can see. I'm recycling the containers here. I don't know if that's what they meant by recycle. You know, when it's indicated on the label that you should recycle, they really mean that they want you to melt the plastic down and form it into a new fresh bottle for refilling for somebody else. And that's true that I can only feed myself here, and it's a little unsanitary, but I guess recycling is a little unsanitary. So Dalgona coffee is my credit. Somebody on the internet some time ago, I don't see them right now, was making YouTube video shorts, Dalgona coffee, and she was using a frother. I had to hear it was called a frother from another video. It wasn't, she didn't speak during the video. Um, So where do we get a frother? We don't. I need a death on myself. And then I want to be alive in the afterlife in a new Godhead that would eat. But I'm looking at that it would be God deceased. That's what the name description of the Godhead I will be in the afterlife after the door locking is deceased is God deceased. He would be God there, but I don't have enough leverage to appear as God in front of you, because you are angry with this Godhead right here that's feminine, but the feminine genitals are illegally on myself from elsewheres, which would make it so that you can't see me anymore, but you did something wrong to me that you still want to see me, which is 45 years of crime lording myself. And the higher Godhead of myself, uh, I would know that, but I wouldn't be the evidence. I'm the evidence is right here, but the female feminine genitals are deceased. And you can blame the churches for disclosing that Jesus was crucified by telling you who was on the crucifix is the body's name is Jesus. If you go into a church and you see the crucifix or cross with the body hanging on it and you don't know what is that, right? It's true that it's just telling you that you need to leave the church. Yeah, you're not allowed in there because you're homeless. And then the clergy that are in there that refuse to leave were misleading the public than telling everyone that the body on the cross represents Jesus or Jesus Christ. And that put me in a position of needing to be deceased myself. And you did a lot of crime on myself. That was not just that you were going into the church and you were told to leave by the cross on the church, because it's not myself, it's Jesus. They said his name is Jesus, but you're not supposed to know that. If you know that interiorly, that would be not true, because I'm the one who knows if it's Jesus or not, because I'm the one who would be in the church about myself. I'm God who goes into the church for myself. But the churches are disclosing that the body on the cross is telling everyone to get out of the church and be homeless outside is that's Jesus. And it's true that Jesus is not the Son of God that way. He's Jesus being crucified, and that's torture. You need to leave the church so you don't see the torture is represented there. That is not the reason you would leave the church. You have to leave because I'm not in there, but you don't know me. There are so many churches, I can't be in all of them on Sunday morning. And if you were to see me in the church, I would be telling you you're homeless, you're due deceased to myself, and I wouldn't be telling you to get out, but I would be saying you are affirmatively homeless, and that is leading to jail and prison. I'm not allowed to say that with myself because it puts me in the prison myself, and I'm not ready to go. When I'm ready to go, when I'm deceased out of the door locking, I'll be in a prison against everybody ever. Well, you don't want to put me in prison because I get angry. But you did. You did crime right on myself. And I'm not in it with you as me being deceased in a prison. And then I have to move everything around myself. And then I find you did so much crime. I would clean it up all the way down to the penny, but you did more crime than I can clean up. You did more than that. I can't afford myself. Okay, I drank out of this one, and I want it refrigerated. And I'm going to be setting it in the refrigerator next to this one that I didn't drink out of without washing it. I washed one of them out. Was it this one or this one? I washed one of them out before I poured into it. I guess it was this one. Yeah. Um, so that's a little bit wrong to me. At least they're nice and sweet when I'm thirsty. They have 110 calories. Oh wait, this one's 80. Okay, this one's 110. Yeah, 110 calories here. These are smaller, 80 calories. I need more calories in the drinks, but I like the taste of these. But if I was going to ask for something else, I would want Rockstar energy drink in a bottle. Yeah, so I could save some of these bottles and get cans of Rockstar energy drink and pour them in here. But that's putting Rockstar energy drink into body armor. And they don't agree. I know, because I'm the Rockstar and I don't have karma to be here. I died outside on the rocks in North Las Vegas Parks system. And I am the rock star that way because it was unlikely, but I had the leverage that did do that. And now I don't have homeless and the threatening anymore. I have that I can create my own stock just for myself because I make all the stock in public and that's how I can insure myself. But this apartment is rented. That means I've been told that I'm allowed to stay here until the first of the month when I owe. I'm not sure how much money because Charles Toe is paying the rent. It was over $1,000 and I don't actually owe that much. If I was going to pay a rent, I was going to move the rent money in leverage and move people around and get a death on myself. And that was failed. It was failed attempt to pay rent because you approximately don't want the responsibility of that you received rent money. You think that it's lost after the receipt is given, and I think it's not lost to myself because it was coming from myself, and you have no sense of time and space that way. I've been paying rent since the year 1995, and I think you don't understand that means I've been paying rent since 1980. 1980, I started to pay rent out of my house because it wasn't my house anymore as soon as Donna was in my house. And I just don't own anything because you don't leave me alone and threatening. You don't know who I am. You don't leave me because you you don't want to be near myself because I'm God, and you don't affirmatively leave with yourself because you're affirmatively homeless. You don't actually go to jails and prisons for a death on yourself because you're homeless. You do crime on the stack like I have never seen in my life. The largest stack ever made ever out of myself. And you don't stop. And you're not allowed to have any of it. You're all doing jails and prisons on all of the points having to do with price. There's a price there and charges. Everybody knows they don't walk out with something for free. That means it's not yours. You can't pay for it because it's not your money. If you made money in the bank, you owed the money, was in the bank, and it was frozen for myself, is alive here. I'm God deceased and I'm alive here and holding alive, being in this Godhead. And it's true that I'm being moved by something above myself so that I can die out of the formed world. But what are you going to do with myself deceased out of the formed world? I am deceased is right here how it's possible that you can see yourselves in public. You're not doing public, you're doing homeless, and you're doing jails and prisons upstate. You need to move out of the cities. And you're all gathering around in the cities where I live, and I don't really know you that way. I could live in my house. I went from my house, and I was in the cities, and you don't know that you have to leave me alone. You want me to solve your problems for you? I make the problems for you. Are you sure you want me to solve them? Because we're just about at the end of that. You have a chance to make an ending for yourself in the prisons, and I don't have an ending for myself here. You're homeless. That's because you're threatening me that if you go in the prisons, I go in the prisons. And that's not my leverage. I don't have leverage to go in the prisons. You have leverage that if you're homeless, you could end up in a jail and a prison. But I don't have the leverage that way by being homeless. I don't go into the jails and prisons with you because you can't put me in a jail and a prison because I'm just like you. Well, you take all my money because I'm just like you. You take my keys in my house because I'm just like you. But you're not in a prison camp to be doing that. If you want to take somebody's keys away from them, you have to be in a prison camp with a deceased address. There's no address in that scenario. Did you take somebody's keys? There's no address in that scenario. Not in threatening. You don't get a death that way. I have to know if you're doing a crime for a death because God making the motion of a death is what you're interested in. It's not people making a motion of surrender because you're not myself.